All right, fans, welcome to episode 19. This is Never Press Pause. I am Bill Yarnell, Yarnasty 590. To my right, we have
KY Guy 78.
And I'm bad at multitasking.
Oh, sorry, I was
You're already
reading.
hit up on Ustream,
Yeah, I
aren't you?
know. It's throwing me off.
It's so exciting, so exciting. Guys, like I said, it's Never Press Pause. Don't forget, you can hit us up at neverpresspause@yahoo.com. Follow us on Twitter at Never Press Pause. Grant over here has been wearing it out on Twitter, always updating on all the special events. It's been absolutely wonderful. We even got to watch the fights last Saturday together, and you were tweeting before they were over. Fights were great, though, were they not?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
I know a lot of people were kind of shocked that old Bones Jones took out Shogun. Made
Wore him
Shogun,
out.
made him look silly, but great fight. And then also before the fight, he stopped a robber, so.
Which was pretty interesting
Yeah.
that you knew that fact when you got to read that. So also don't forget, at our website, neverpresspause.com, don't forget to like us on Facebook. And that you can do that right off of our website to the right there. We've already got a couple fans over there liking us, and that's kind of neat to see their faces and everything popping up. So with that being said, we getting ready to kick it a little retro style, taking it back with the movies, some movies, maybe some music if we got time for that, but definitely TV shows and some cartoons that we watched growing up, and a little bit about our childhood. So I'm pretty excited about that. With that being said, you been playing anything interesting lately?
Kind of been jumping around playing a bunch of different games right now. I rented Dragon Age 2. Excuse me, but I've just been so busy lately. I haven't really had a lot of time to kind of get into it as much as I want. But I like it. They've kind of simplified it a lot from the first Dragon Age. But you know, it's a decent game. I had played Singularity a while back. I got that back in today, trying to finish that off. It's a decent kind of shooter made by Raven, which has made some really cool games. So I've been doing that. That's pretty good. Threw in some Black Ops for the first time in a while over the weekend, and went in. It was a little rusty at first, but after 2 or 3 games, kind of
got right back into the groove.
Yeah.
It's kind of like riding a bike there with Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And Black Ops, like you said, we've talked about this, but it just seems a little easier than some of the ones we played, or either that or we're getting better. But either way, you like you said, it's like riding a bike. You dust off the cobwebs and you're ready to go again.
Yeah, the hardest thing I had a problem with was getting back used to the buttons, because you play different games and the buttons. But once I figured out, like, the RB is the grenade and everything, it takes a couple of games to work out the kinks. And then,
what throws me off is going from PlayStation 3 to Xbox and those different controls in the hands.
Yeah.
They just feel different to me. Not that I don't like either one. I like both the controllers. It's just they do feel a lot different in the hands. So, anything else? That's about it for what you've been playing?
Yeah, that's about it. Just been busy trying to get in some games, but just been busy. So spring break coming up, hopefully.
Ooh, exciting times. I'm going to Florida,
I did pre-order LA Noire, and that doesn't come out till May, but that's really the next big game I'm looking forward to.
Now, I may be crazy and I may be weird here, but got to babysit 3 of the kids the other day, 3 little ones under the age of 6. And so we're babysitting them. Of course, kids love the Wii, and they love Mario Kart. Of course, I didn't play with them because they would have probably stomped me into the ground. But the little boy, Peyton, can run a Wii kart around a track faster and better than anybody I've ever seen. And his facial expressions crack me up. But I'm sitting here watching these kids play the Wii back and forth and against each other. And for some reason, I want to just go home and play Wii Mario Racing until I can't see straight. It's so fun. And maybe it's because they enjoy it so much, and maybe because it is a really great game. I mean, the Mario Kart Racing is a great game, but it's one of those games that I just enjoyed just watching them play because they were having so much fun and they were actually playing video games. And, it was boys and girls, the 3 of them. And they were just having a blast. And I just want to go home and play Mario Kart Wii right now. I just want to take my controller and just turn left or right and gun it at the light when it goes green and stuff like that. But they really seem to enjoy it, and it makes me want to enjoy it just as much. So other than that, still playing some Fallout New Vegas. Loving that. Duder is just wearing me out, wanting to play nonstop. I wish I had more time to play with him. And we've got to get kind of and Vinna, we're using Skype to talk since he's on PlayStation 3 and I'm on Xbox, which really kind of sucks. But at the same time, I'm not trying to waste all my minutes, on a phone call. So, because we'll be on there 2 or 3 hours at a time. So, but that's kind of what I've been playing lately. You've been watching anything exciting? Anything interesting?
I've kind of been getting caught up on DVR as far as movies. I watched Going the Distance the other day, the one with Drew Barrymore and Justin Long.
Yep.
Better than I thought it would be. Jim Gaffigan, very small part, but he was very funny. Not bad if you're looking for a movie, to sit at home and watch with a lady friend and just kind of kick back. I mean, you couldn't really go wrong with that one as far as like a romantic comedy goes.
Good, not great.
No, definitely not great. Definitely not one I'd be like, you've got to go watch it now or anything. But I mean, it's one of those, if you're at the Red Box or whatever and you're trying to decide what to watch, it's one both of you will probably be happy with. You'll enjoy it. Like I said, been getting caught up on DVR. Had got 3 or 4 episodes behind on Glee. Got caught up. Watched the regionals, which they did original songs. I think we kind of mentioned that a podcast or 2 ago. And then getting caught back up on 30 Rock and some stuff like that. Watched some Justified, the new season of that.
I really want to see that.
It's kind of picking right back up and just as kind of as good as it was last year.
I'm really looking. I need to catch up on Weeds. I think I'm a season or 2 behind on that. And like Mary Louise Parker, right? That's the
yes.
Whew, I don't know what it is about her. She is gorgeous.
It's on Netflix now. Netflix has most of the season
streaming live, and which is absolutely amazing. So between that and like you said, Netflix, I still got the 3 videos coming to the house. Which people are nowadays when I tell them, it's so weird. I started out on Netflix like 2005. One of the first people I knew, before I met you, I'm almost. One of the first people doing Netflix. I absolutely loved it. 3 movies coming to the house all the time. Had a movie. And then they go to this streaming, and you could do so many hours, like however much money you paid. And then now it's just all free. It's all the time. Brad's over there checking his Insecure right now, trying to probably find the movies we talk about. We got a couple keepers for you if you're doing your homework, Brad. Quentin Tarantino films are what I'm making Marty and Brad watch at this point. So
start with True Romance, though, and then build up. You got to go in order.
Mention True Romance. And have either one of you seen True Romance?
Yeah.
Probably one of the greatest movies in the last 20
and it's
years.
not Quentin Tarantino didn't direct it. He just wrote the screenplay. Yes, it is a little better. A little better.
Touch. So,
and he sold the script for True Romance to get the money to make Reservoir Dogs.
So they don't know when it comes to. By the way, guys, we're talking to our 2 sound guy and our video guy, and they actually are at our school, and I'm making them do homework for watching these
Someone
movies.
on the Ustream just said everything is better than PS. I love you.
So there you go. Good. I'm glad they can hear him though. That's great. So I'm sorry, I just got bumped in a train of thought. Oh, catching up on Netflix. So now when I tell people, they're like, how much do you pay? And I'm like, I pay $20 a month, and I get 3 videos at the house. And they're like, well, why do you do that? And I'm like, I've always done that.
Yeah.
But you can do $9 and stream anything. Well, because I'm so old school, I guess, set in my way from 2005 that I'm used to getting those videos. There's something about opening that red envelope and that touch of that soft white paper slip that it goes in, and then putting that back in the mailbox. I don't know. Call me nostalgic. Call me what you will. Just call me. Hey, that was bad. But I just love that part of Netflix, and I won't go away from it, I guess, for a while now. So
see, I kind of where they keep raising the price and they're going to the streaming. It's kind of made me want to back off of doing 3 at a time, but I can do 2 and still get my streaming and save $2 or $3 a month. That's kind of how I've looked at it. But I also picked up Blockbuster Total Access because I was doing GameFly, and GameFly was $17, $18 a month, and I just got tired of getting games at the bottom of my queue and not getting great games. And so Blockbuster, they do regular DVDs, Blu-rays, and games. I think one out at a time is $8.99 a month. So I've done that and basically just use that for games now.
If Best Buy if Blockbuster started streaming,
they do stream, but they charge for it.
Oh, do they? See, if they could figure out like Netflix has somehow, I think they could easily. Now Netflix, I'll be a loyal customer until you go bankrupt or no longer exist. Redbox, I refuse to do Redbox just on the Netflix premise alone.
So I'll do Redbox if there's something I really want to watch and I haven't gotten it from Netflix. I'll do that. I was probably on Netflix before you were.
Wait, you got to always one up me.
Well, no, I'm just saying that I remember getting it, and people were just like, "You get movies in the mail? Like what? Like, aren't you afraid someone will steal? Like, what? How does that work?"
I've never once thought about that. Actually, I think I had a mailman at one point, like literally stealing DVDs from the post office at in Richmond. So,
yeah, but for me, it was out of necessity. I lived in a town that had one video store. And that video store was going out of business, so they didn't get anything new. But it seemed like it was going out of business for like 6 months. So the Netflix was the only way I had to get movies, and
we got to stay up on the movies.
Yeah, and I was like, I'll try this and see how it is. And I've been with them for about 8 years now.
It's an amazing, and we talked about it. I built it up. And we both love it. We've both been using it. Even Bailey's on it now. He's doing the streaming and but nowadays, we've talked about this. We've got our Blu-ray players, which actually stream Netflix live. You've got your PlayStation 3, you've got your Xbox, you've got your Wii. All three of those consoles are streaming. You've got it on your computer. I mean, you can basically pull it up off of anything now. They've done a really good job at doing that and getting it out to all the media. So, Netflix, like I said, I'm sticking around. I love it. But with that being said, let's, if we could, maybe bow our heads for a minute and another moment of silence. I know we had one, but the late, great Elizabeth Taylor had passed away. And let's pay a little respects with a moment of silence for Elizabeth Taylor. All right. Elizabeth, you will be missed. A lot of people, probably a lot of our viewers, they probably don't know Elizabeth Taylor as well. A much older actress, Cleopatra, Virginia Woolf.
Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, wasn't she?
Great movie. Was she in?
She was in one of the Tennessee Williams ones. I can't remember. Okay.
But was it? No, he didn't do Virginia Woolf, did he?
Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? That's not Tennessee Williams.
Okay. So, she passed away. A lot of stuff on the internet. A lot of people sending out tweets and stuff about that. Probably
a lot of the younger people would know her best as being one of Michael Jackson's big friends.
Yeah.
She... And the thing is back in the day, she was considered to be one of the most beautiful women in the world. And I'm looking at her IMDb page right now, and she's a good-looking woman.
She is beautiful.
Picture.
She's beautiful. Now, she's not nearly... Oh, you're right. Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. You are right.
Giant with James Dean.
Now, let's not mistake her with Liv Tyler, who is 3 times as pretty as Elizabeth Taylor. No offense. But old... Miss Williams did say Cat on a Hot Tin Roof with Paul Newman. So, yes, we thank you, Miss Williams. Now, Robbie seemed to... Somehow we got confused today. And Robbie, we got onto Liv Tyler, and I think she's beautiful. Apparently, you and Robbie don't agree with me and Bailey on this one.
Well, I said I don't see this, like, she is so stunningly attractive thing. She is a pretty woman, sure.
I think maybe a lot of it had to do with the Lord of the Rings, but also Aerosmith videos. But
today that's why Robbie is eventually probably going to sit in on the show.
Yeah, I told him that in an email.
With some of his observations, because the stream of consciousness that was going today as we go to Elizabeth Taylor, to Liv Tyler, to Lord of the Rings, to George Lucas, or they should really make Lord of the Rings in space.
That was me.
So then talking about George Lucas stole all of his ideas, to Robbie saying it hurts me that there are children who will never see Star Wars in its true order of 4, 5, and 6 as being the first 3, and they've seen them in order as 1 through 6. And then I recounted the story of in my classroom a few weeks ago. I said something about the first Star Wars, one of the most awesome movies ever. And a kid was like, yeah, I really like Jar Jar. And I just hung my head and just started shaking it and silently wept on the inside.
And as well you should. But, I mean, And as educators, we're here to educate the youth of America, and not only our subject area of specialty, but also pop culture. I feel like pop culture should be a part of what our curriculum is.
This thing I was at tonight, and why I missed the earlier podcast was I brought that up about how pop culture is something the children need. Like, they are immersed in it daily. They need to find ways to see that that's relevant.
Well, not only that, and like you said, and we're going to get a little off topic right here because we already have, but you say pop culture and they're immersed. You wouldn't have been able to get on the internet today without seeing the fact that Elizabeth Taylor had passed away. Okay, and so then you're like, oh, well, who is this Elizabeth Taylor? The other day, I'd heard reference after reference after reference to Rebecca Black. And I said, who is this Rebecca Black? And what has she done to get all this recognition? Little do I know that mom pays a couple $1,000s, gets her a video, and she sings the worst song, a catchy song. Friday. And names off the days of the week. I feel honestly like my 5-year-old nephew could do a better job. But, now she's like the talk of the town. But there are mean people out there. Did you hear her interview on Good Morning America?
Yes, I did.
Crying and everything. So, guys, I'm going to educate you on this a little bit too. Don't be mean on the internet just because you don't think somebody doesn't know who you are. I don't think there's a reason for that. If you wouldn't say it to somebody's face, don't put it on the internet. That's my words of wisdom for tonight.
I think for a lot of people though, the internet is the equivalent of talking behind someone's back. I'm going to post this. You don't know who I am. It's the same thing as being two-faced. I'll talk to your face. I'll be one way, but what I like is the people who forget that other people can read what they post on Facebook or on Twitter, and then you're hearing all about their drama and who did what to who and who stole so-and-so's girlfriend, and you're just like, you do realize I'm reading this. Do you really want to share all this information with everyone?
Oh, the other day I had actually talked to both of my parents, in which they are divorced, so... and I talked to my mom on the way home, and then I called my dad afterwards because I have to go up there and see him this weekend. And I'm talking to him on the phone, and of course I get home, and Liz asked me, she's like, oh, did you talk to him at the same time? And I was like, yeah, we did a conference call, a three-way calling, if you will, from back in the day when we had landlines. And I said, I had the one be quiet, and then I was like, yeah, so what do you think about Ron? And then she would start talking about him, and then I'd be like, oh, he's on the phone.
Yeah, and they would do the split screen, and the other one would be like, oh, he said that. Yeah.
So it just for some reason it struck me as so funny, like at the same time, and then the three-way calling, which do people do that anymore, or do they just call it conference calling nowadays?
I think they call it conference calling. I think
today's society.
Yeah, I think when you say three-way, people have a different
true story. Let's keep it PG, guys. Let's keep it PG. But with that being said, catching up on some Netflix. Talked about some Netflix. So we're getting ready to go into our first break for episode 19. And like I said, guys, get ready for some retro. We're going to talk about stuff that you may not have talked about or even thought about in a decade or two. Mm-hmm. So when we come back for Never Press Pause, episode 19, we will get into our retro movies, TV, and more. All right, fans, welcome back to episode 19. This is Never Press Pause. And as promised, we're going retro. We going movies. We going commercials, maybe. We going TV shows, maybe some cartoons we watch as kids if we got time. But we are going nothing but retro on this special edition, episode 19, with me and Grant.
As I like to think of this, most of this stuff Bailey wasn't allowed to watch.
Bailey wasn't allowed to watch, or just refuses now to watch it on principle alone, which hurts my heart even more to the most part. So let's get started. Let's kick it off in the 80s. I was born in 1980, but I like to consider myself a connoisseur of all great things that were the 80s. Mm-hmm. Reaganomics was going on back then.
Something DOO economics. Voodoo economics.
So that's just a small history joke, I guess, if you will.
That's Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
I hate Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
We might have to stop the podcast right now.
We're gonna go ahead and let's throw that out there. Let's throw out Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
One of my favorite movies ever.
E.T.
It's okay.
You can keep both of those. You can wad them both of them up, and you can toss it in the trash because I absolutely could not stand either one of those movies. And I think Ferris Bueller's Day Off is to the point now where I probably would like it if I did sit down and watch the whole thing all the way through again. But I'm to the point. I think I just got hit up on Facebook about that comment.
What didn't you like about it?
Nothing. I didn't think Matthew Broderick was funny in it. I didn't think
What about Charlie Sheen in the police station?
No, I hated the whole movie. Give me Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Okay, Fast Times at Ridgemont High was great.
Okay, I love that movie. But I refuse at this point to even try watching it. So, but with that being said, give me some of your great movies from the 80s. What do you got from the 80s that you just absolutely
great
love?
movies or movies I enjoyed? Well, Dwayne throwing in
Revenge of the Nerds is a really good one.
That was on the Fox Movies the other night, and I watched for the first time in a long time. Saw the unedited version. Did not realize how filthy that was when I was a kid.
You know what was worse than that? What was it? Porky's. Porky's was really bad. Do you remember that one?
Yeah. I remember going to the drive-in with my mom and dad.
I can only imagine covering up your eyes.
Had no idea what was going on.
Yeah. You can't watch this. But all right, let's get into it. The Goonies. We've talked about them before. Classic movie. Probably one of my favorite movies.
That Bailey refuses to watch.
Now it's on principle alone, though.
But I mean, The Goonies was one of those. Like you watched it, and it had kind of a complicated plot. It was just fun. Like, you wanted to see Sloth and Chunk and...
You know what I wanted to do? I wanted to go look for buried treasure on One-Eyed Willie's ship.
Yes.
Is what I wanted to do. So,
that's a great 80s movie, and Bailey is now to the point where he just refuses to watch it.
Which is absolutely ridiculous.
The Indiana Jones movies were big in the 80s,
And, I really didn't get too big into Indiana Jones until The Temple of Doom. Mm-hmm. And the one with Sean Connery, the
Last Crusade.
The Last Crusade. Those are my two favorite. No, the Indiana Jones movies were great, but I really enjoyed those last two. Go ahead. You got any comments on those?
Well, just I like to think this is just one of those useless things that I know that originally Tom Selleck was supposed to be Indiana Jones, and he couldn't get out of his Magnum PI contract.
Well, he probably couldn't get out of that mustache either.
True.
I mean, so if that thing's holding you back.
And so Steven Spielberg and George Lucas need a guy, and they're like, well, we know this Harrison Ford dude from the Star Wars movies. So.
He did a decent job. He did an all right job with the Star Wars.
And I mean, that Indiana Jones and Star Wars made Harrison Ford, one of the biggest stars in the world.
But what about American Graffiti? He did a great job in American Graffiti, but he was young, very young Harrison Ford.
But I mean, you look at those roles. George Lucas had a hand in all of those, and arguably at the time, probably Tom Selleck was more famous than Harrison Ford, and because he couldn't get out of his contract,
So you know what? It still rings true today. So 80s, 70s, early 70s, late 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000. I've got 4 directors that come to mind and some of the greatest movies ever made. Mm-hmm. Spielberg.
Yep.
Scorsese.
Mm-hmm.
George Lucas.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember my 4th one. I just drew a blank, so I'm going to stop. Those 3. But those 3 directors... literally some of them defined the 80s. And I'm not talking about the teen bop. You could even go as far as the 80s.
The whole
80s was the John Hughes.
Yeah, you look at the John Hughes movies, Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller, Pretty in Pink, 16 Candles.
And the parodies that have come from that.
Yes. And even you look at, people think of John Hughes as the teen movies, but you think of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Great movie.
And he did that. Great movie.
You're going the wrong way. How do they know which way we're going?
Where's your other hand? But then you look at, he did Home Alone, which I think was 90, 91. Those types of people, Steven Spielberg puts a movie out every, 3-4 years now? And it's always great. I mean, it may not be the most, box office phenomenon, but
I will go back. Stanley Kubrick was also one of my he's one of my favorite directors at all. And I know we're talking about movies, but these are the guys that are putting these movies out and making them what they were. Of course, you've got the cast, you've got the script, everything else, but these are the guys that are behind the greatest movie ideas of all time. And not to take anything away from the early movies, and they were great in their own right, but these really revolutionized from the 80s on to what we see on the screen today.
I was watching a documentary a long time ago, 4 or 5 years ago, where it talked about like from 75 to about 85 was like this second golden age in filmmaking, because you saw Scorsese, come out with these movies, and kind of you saw him build, and then you had the big blockbusters, and Steven Spielberg doing Jaws, kind of created the summer blockbuster.
With, mind you, a shark that did not work, which made the movie work even better.
Yeah, because he was like, this is stupid. We'll just, shoot around the crappy looking shark. And ended up, the whole thing of what you don't see ends up being, scarier. And people still are trying to create that. And Steven Spielberg was just like, yeah, it's not working. We'll try this.
Yeah. So, jumping off of that in the blockbusters, let's go some of the smaller ones, but that also still ring true. What about Never-Ending Story and Never-Ending Story 2? What did you think?
This is all I can remember about Never-Ending Story is I was on an academic team. We would always go to these competitions in elementary school, and that was what you watched in the room while you were waiting. It's Never-Ending Story. I remember I've seen that movie probably 30 times.
Oh, it's such a great movie. Atreyu?
Yeah, and the song, The Never-Ending Story.
What was the dog? What was the pink dog? It's Ben's favorite. The Luck Dragon.
Yeah.
The Luck Dragon. Ben Hall loved The Luck Dragon. Another great movie and a surprise singer in it, Labyrinth. One of my favorite childhood movies. Do you remember? And David Bowie.
Yep.
And he would juggle those silver balls, and and then I don't know what it was. I think it was just the puppets and everything else.
That was Jennifer Connelly's first big role.
And of course, back then I had a huge crush on.
And
Jennifer
then a
Connelly.
movie that I maybe it starts with L. Maybe that's what makes me think of it. Lady Hawk.
Oh wow! Very nice, very nice. Yeah. And that was. Go ahead if you want to run.
Well, I was going to say, that's Matthew Broderick and.
I can't remember the female.
I cannot. I'm going to have to.
But anyways, they would turn in. One would turn into a hawk, and they could never be together during the. One would turn in at night and day, and that was good call on that one. Ooh, going back to Matthew Broderick, Dwayne throws up War Games, and who doesn't like to play tic-tac-toe against the computer?
Would you like to play a game?
So. Which kind of creeped
Michelle Pfeiffer. Michelle Pfeiffer was the girl.
You know what? You would have asked me that, and I would have said no to it. I would have never even guessed that.
Isabel, and then Rutger Hauer, who was in another great movie from the 80s, a little crappy horror movie called The Hitcher.
Never saw that.
Oh, it's great. They remade it a few years ago with Sean Bean, and it was not nearly as good.
What about the Christmas classic, A Christmas Story?
Yeah, I love it. And now it's not Christmas without A Christmas Story.
24 hours.
24 hours.
Didn't they even bump it up to more than 24 hours?
It was 36 hours this past year. But what I like is you look at some of these movies, like they put A Christmas Story out, didn't do all that well, and they were like, well, we'll put it back out again at Christmas. And at Christmas, let's go watch this. Then it came out on video right around the time VCR started, put that out, and it became this classic when at the time, it was a flop, which that's the case with a lot of movies. Citizen Kane.
Oh, yeah.
They thought that's a flop. It's a Wonderful Life. It's a flop. But now they're these classics.
Can I go Office Space almost in the same category? Office Space and maybe Super Troopers? But nowadays it's a little different. You got your underground... literally underground groups running these movies and making them as big as they are. But, I mean, literally, Office Space, did you go to the theater to watch it? Did you even...
No.
It was one of those movies you're like, what?
Office Space was around the time I was working at the video store. And it was one of these movies that I kind of heard about. And I've always been really kind of tapped into these kind of cult movies. And I remember watching it and just laughing my butt off and telling people when they came in the store, you need to watch Office Space. I don't know. No, you need to watch it. But that
was 90s.
Yeah.
But still a great movie. But the underground following is still the same. All right, let's talk about Back to the Future. Mm-hmm. You got 1, 2, and 3. Not the biggest fan of Back to the Future. Not not the huge fan, but the flux capacitor. If I had the ability to go back in time, I think I would.
Yeah, I will say I really like the first one, and
I really like the third one and the first one.
really like the first one. The second one, not so much. The third one, I thought was okay. I think the first one, it did a lot of things you hadn't seen as far as special effects go, and usually when you looked at those special effects movies, they were kind of action-based movies, and I think this was the first time you really kind of saw that just as a device to make this movie where you go back, and just the story is interesting. Going back in time, and the thing Leah Thompson as his mom was great. Just a great movie. And that's Robert Zemeckis, another one of those big directors of the '80s.
All right, with Back to the Future, what about this one? And I can still remember playing with the little hand puppets that I got from Pizza Hut, The Land Before Time.
Yep, Littlefoot.
Yep, I think we've talked about that on here before, actually. But so The Land Before Time, child's play.
Now, I remember my mom was staying with my aunt, and my aunt had one of those pull-out beds, and seeing Child's Play like that night, and just thinking that there was no doll in this house, there was no Chucky, but thinking that Chucky was going to come kill me.
Oh, I was scared to death of that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't do terror movies anyways. Oh, by the way, Miss Williams said she also saw Porky's at the Richmond Drive-In as well. That's great.
I remember.
I miss the drive-in. Just going retro. I used to go every summer to Winchester.
There's one in Winchester.
And there's nothing better than that experience. Especially now you can tune it in on your car radio and just sit back, relax, enjoy a double feature, which they don't do ever anymore like they used to back in the day at the movie theaters. But that was so much fun to me, even as a kid, but even now I love going to those. I don't want to just go through this list. Let's do this. What do you got? What else you got from the 80s? Anything else off the top of your head?
I was thinking, I always enjoyed a movie that I loved and we've mentioned it on here a couple of times. Growing up was Adventures in Babysitting.
Oh, wow.
Just loved Elizabeth Shue. I remember wore that thing out, watched it all the time.
That and the song, what was the song they sang when they were running there at the end trying to get home before mom and dad got home?
Got 15 miles.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know why that song, that clicks right away. One of my favorites of all times, though, from the 80s, from my childhood, was Monster Squad.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that a lot of people have even seen it. And it was so cheesy, and it had all the bad monsters in it, but it was such a cool story, and the scary German guy, and kicking Wolfman in the nards. Oh my gosh, what a great movie!
Princess Bride.
Classic. Yeah. The lines from that, you could, these movies we could.
Earlier when we first started retro, there were people on Ustream, and somebody said Princess Bride, and it was just. I'm in Aingo Montoya. Because my father prepared to die.
Dwayne just threw up Stand By Me, which was an absolute great movie. And it had so many young stars at the time.
And just now, I think it's the 20th anniversary, or maybe 25th anniversary Blu-ray.
Stephen King doing anything special on it? Or
I think he does a commentary.
Good.
Because I was reading Entertainment Weekly, had a thing on it this week.
We talked about Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Let's talk about Batman real quick and how it started that franchise and how dark and dirty that was.
Alfred died the other day from the Batman.
Alfred did die from the Batman movie.
So we didn't.
Not Michael Caine, but the original.
Right. The original Batman with
I remember
Michael Keaton.
I remember going and watching it the night it came out.
It was amazing.
Yeah,
you really hadn't seen stuff like that on the big screen in a long time.
Yeah,
and. Did a great job. The Joker, of course, I thought he did a better job than Heath Ledger. You guys have called me crazy.
Well, very different take on it.
I
think they both did great jobs. Jack Nicholson's kind of more of what I picture the Joker being, kind of what's in the comic book, and then
not the dark.
Yeah, Heath Ledger kind of took it down that Christopher Nolan path.
Yeah,
of everything's got to be dark. But yeah, the Batman Returns though was a little too dark. Like I liked it, but I got the trilogy, all those Batman, all four, whatever of them they made, and that one doesn't hold up as well to me.
Is that the one with the Penguin and Catwoman and all that?
And Catwoman.
Yeah, and not only dark. I mean, like literally, if you watch that again, it is so dark, shot dark. It is so like shadows just fade into everything. It's so pitch black shot. What about this little The Lost Boys? Do you remember The Lost Boys?
My stepdad, that is his favorite movie of all time.
As well, it should be up there on the top of the list.
Yeah,
'Cause
I bought him the special edition DVD for Christmas.
the two Coreys together.
Kiefer Sutherland.
Hunting vampires. And the grandpa at the very end when he comes in after coming through the wall. Not to spoil alert, but if you haven't seen Lost Boys by now, you're lost yourself. But that one, oh my gosh, I loved that movie. So anything else you see down that list that's taking you back?
We were talking about movies. John Cusack back in the 80s, Better Off Dead, One Crazy Summer.
Okay, let's talk about One Crazy Summer because I was going to mention that. One Crazy Summer, I literally watched, because HBO, you know how they run it. Mm-hmm. I literally watched One Crazy Summer all summer long. I to this day, if that movie's on, nothing else gets in the way of that movie.
One Crazy Summer is on my DVR. It was on Independent Film Channel the other day. And
Godzilla.
Yeah, and then Better Off Dead is one of my favorite comedies of all time.
Fair enough.
Where he starts off wanting to kill himself and has the guy that played Curtis Armstrong that played Booger in Revenge of the Nerds, and he's skiing down the mountain, and he was like, imagine if this was cocaine, how much this would be worth. And then the paper boy riding the bike all over the place saying, I want my $2. Just the same guy did Better Off Dead and One Crazy Summer. And they both are like very twisted sense of humor. And I remember John Cusack. I remember thinking, like, this guy needs to be in more movies. He's funny. And he still is kind of one of those guys, you see him in a movie, you know he's like a star that you know, but he never was like a top tier kind of superstar kind of guy.
But he's made so many, like, he's the one that I would picture a Lifetime Achievement Award would be meant for. Because he's never going to put out that movie that's going to knock you dead and win the Oscar. But what he is going to do is he's going to make good quality films that you're going to enjoy. So, and for that, John Cusack, I salute you, good sir.
Ooh, I forgot it.
Go ahead, bring it up.
Die Hard.
Oh my gosh, Bruce McCain.
John
McClane, Bruce.
Yeah.
Why do I always want to say Bruce?
Best Christmas movie ever.
Die Hard. I remember my dad and I going to the old Video Fantastic here in town and renting that the night before. With the girl was very nice to us and let us have it the night before because they were getting ready to close. And we went home and watched it right then. And I watched it 2 or 3 times the next day. Lethal Weapon came out in the 80s.
What about Weird Science? We never brought up Weird Science.
Weird Science. That's another favorites. John Hughes movie too.
Yeah. So there are so many 80s movies out there. We are getting ready to go to a break. We have worn out some 80s movies, and there are so many more we could just go into great detail about. Don't forget, guys, if you're on Ustream, hit us up with some comments or questions on Ustream, and let us know what you like out there. Let us know what you like. When we come back, we maybe do some TV shows from the 80s and get into some early 90s stuff. And like I said, we're keeping it old school, keeping it retro tonight. So hope you're enjoying episode 19. This is Never Press Pause. All right, guys, we are back with episode 19, very special episode, just me and G-Baby in the house, and we are going retro. We are talking movies, music, well, not music so much, movies and TV shows from our past, and keeping it old school right now, kicking it off. Just got done talking about a lot of 80s movies, and I know there are a gazillion more 80 movies out there that we don't even have time to mention. But, I mean, you honestly could run a podcast and do one 80s movie or 2 80s movies, a 30-minute podcast, and be fine and not have enough time to do it. So, with that being said, let's jump into some popular TV shows in the 80s. TV shows that we just absolutely loved and watched and grew up with. And they can be cartoons or live, whatever what you will. But what do you got for the 80s?
I'm trying to think of like the stuff that I watched. Dukes of Hazzard.
I see. That maybe because I was from Ohio. Yeah, one of the things I never watched was Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah, but around here, you were watching Dukes of Hazzard. There was a TV show, Knight Rider. Talking about cars. Great. There was another show came on about that time. I think it was on maybe a couple seasons called Street Hawk. The guy with the black motorcycle.
Do you remember the one? It was like Knight Rider, but he was in a helicopter. What was that?
Airwolf.
Airwolf. Both of their theme songs for Knight Rider and Airwolf were the best.
Yeah,
loved that theme song. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Teenage Mutant
We could sit here
Ninja
and sing the theme
Turtles.
songs to almost every cartoon from the 80s, I'm guessing. Go ahead.
DuckTales.
Oh my gosh, DuckTales was probably, and I like to play that video game on Nintendo, old NES video game, and I loved playing that one. What about the show, 3 letters, Alf?
Dude, I love me some Alf. I had posters up. I had the stuffed Alf.
He ate cats.
He did
or
eat
tried
cats.
to eat cats.
Do you remember what Alf's real name was?
I do not.
Gordon Shumway.
Ooh, very nice. All right, I'm gonna throw a quiz back at you. And Magnum PI, what was the hat he wore?
Detroit Tigers.
Okay, good. And that was also off of a movie, but gone in 60 seconds. But man, I like Magnum PI. I just wanted to probably live in Hawaii and just go on adventures.
What about MacGyver?
MacGyver was great. Do you remember when MacGyver actually had the episode where he went back in time and was like Merlin?
No,
And
I don't remember that.
I watched that. I watched MacGyver with my aunt a lot, and I almost honestly it feels like The Simpsons. You know how Patty and the sisters,
Patty and Selma.
yeah, they love MacGyver. Is it a MacGyver they love?
Yep.
Yeah, I felt like that was my aunt. She always wanted to watch MacGyver. What about Cheers?
I think Cheers is one of those, like, as I got older, I really appreciated it because when I was younger, I didn't get a lot of the humor.
I don't think I got a lot of the humor, but I guess where I watched it with my family every night it was on, that I just grew up with Sam the bartender and Woody, and remember Woody's song to Kelly, and he was like, K-E.
Yeah. I'll tell you a show that I loved. My mom and I used to watch it and thought it was hilarious was Moonlighting.
I never got into
And
Moonlighting.
then watching it when I'm older, and I'm like, this show is hilarious because now I get the dirty jokes.
Yeah, Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis. I still remember the pilot episode when he's got the trash can up for a basketball hoop, and Mr. Pesto walked in and he shoots it and it falls down on her head, and he's like, looking mighty pale today, Mr. Pesto. And I just thought that was hilarious when I was a kid.
Apparently Nick loves some Moonlighting as well,
Yeah.
so he got really excited about that one. Of course, my favorite cartoon back in the day would have had to have been He-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And I had all those action figures.
He-Man, Transformers,
Thundercats.
G.I. Joe.
Oh, wow. I mean, the list could go on and on with the cartoons.
Probably
alone.
everybody's favorite G.I. Joe was Snake Eyes.
I don't know, dude.
Shipwreck.
I love me some Shipwreck. I also like the guy. Who was the guy with the white suit? The one in the ice.
Storm Shadow. Or no, Blizzard.
Blizzard.
Yeah.
I really liked him, and I don't know why. Have we talked about the PSAs? You know how G.I. Joe used to
I
do
don't think we've talked about them on here.
Okay, so there is on YouTube the G.I. Joe PSAs, but they've been done over again, and they do voiceovers over the PSAs, and I'm not kidding. Like, some of them are really dumb and really bad. They didn't have a lot to work with, but the one where the kid sets the house on fire with the
Cooking
pork chops, I could watch that every day and laugh just as hard, if not harder. It is the funniest thing ever, and I don't want to say it on the air because he cusses, but
Yeah.
it's hilarious. So if you get a chance, get on YouTube and type in G.I. Joe PSAs, and like I said, there's about 20 of them that they put up there and did voiceovers, and it's hilarious. What about old Pee-wee's Playhouse and the secret word, the word of the day? Oh my gosh, that one, and Cherry.
Cherry, and then Missy Vaughn.
And that
Cowboy
was dirty.
Carl.
Yeah. They had innuendos in there all the time. So how do they get away with that stuff?
I think because kids, like, you don't get the humor. I think that's why movies like Shrek and those are still so popular today, is there's that level of humor for kids, and then, like, the adults are like, oh, I get why that's really funny.
Well played. What about a little show called Family Matters? You remember that?
Yeah.
Steve Urkel? You didn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like you liked it as much.
It was okay, but then, like, it kind of, the first couple of seasons were fine, and then it kind of went, when his Stefan.
The
showed
alter
up.
ego?
Yeah.
Yeah. It got a little out of control. What about my brother still watches the show. He actually DVRs it. What about Cops? Bad Boys.
I
That
never
song.
was really into
I never
Cops.
was either. But like I said, my
Rescue
brother
911.
loves it.
Dude, those are great shows. Rescue 911 and Unsolved Mysteries.
Unsolved Mysteries still to this day.
Oh, I remember Rescue 911 with William Shatner.
Yeah.
And it was like, Sally Jones fell, and her quick thinking saved her life.
And all about calling 911. But it was a great show.
Mm-hmm.
But Unsolved Mysteries was excellent.
Yeah.
Man, that guy's, what was his name?
Robert Stack.
His voice. The only guy I like now is the guy that does the Geico commercials. It's almost like that deep, raspy voice that he does. And I'm pretty sure they're doing that on purpose. Another one of my shows, and I think I like the theme song more than I like the show, was Fraggle Rock.
Let's go down to Fraggle Rock.
Yeah. Oh, chase your cares away. Yeah.
Save
They're
them
dance
for
your cares
another day.
away.
Save them for another day.
But with that being said, The Adventures of the Gummy Bears, and that theme song to this day, because JB and Wade will play the Gummy Bears theme song every time they play together, and there's nothing finer than hearing the theme song done acoustic. So
because they're bouncing here and there and everywhere.
What about the Muppets?
The Muppets.
The Muppet, and how long's that been? That's been on.
The Muppet Show started in like 77-ish. But then they had their big heyday in the 80s.
And it was great because they had their celebrity stars on there who were doing songs and stuff, and everything like that. Okay, with that being said, Reading Rainbow. Throw out Reading Rainbow.
Butterfly in the sky.
That show, I used to watch, I loved it.
Oh, yeah.
LeVar Burton.
Yeah.
I just never understood why he didn't have his little visor on. I couldn't, like in my head as a kid, I could not grasp why he was not Data from Star Trek.
No, he wasn't Data. He was Geordie LaForge.
Who was Data? Oh, Data was
Brent Spiner.
Yeah, the robot. My bad. I like to mess up stuff. And speaking of robots, Vicky.
That's what I was getting ready to say.
Get out of here. Small Wonder. What a weird show.
Yeah, that was back when they did the syndicated shows, and they would always come on like Saturdays at 5 or whatever, and they weren't the big shows. There was Small Wonder, Charles in Charge.
Charles in Charge was great.
Yeah.
What about Roseanne?
Roseanne.
I loved Roseanne. I had the biggest crush on Darlene.
Roseanne was one of those I got into in like spurts. I would watch it some weeks, and then other weeks I wouldn't.
I didn't miss an episode of Roseanne for like the last 5 years it was on TV.
Even the Krabby years when she went crazy, and
I loved it. I loved it.
What about the Cosby Show?
It was one of those shows that I never got into and never watched. Now I'll watch it in syndicate now, and I'll watch reruns.
Jamming on the One.
But I never, and I did get to see the one where he goes to buy a car and he tries to dress down and buy this car and stuff like that.
Jamming on the One.
What about Mystery Science Theater 3000? Schoolhouse Rock was great.
Yeah, we were talking about that tonight.
I'm just a bill.
That's how my pronunciation.
What were you saying?
Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yeah.
They would sit in front of a screen and make fun of it. And Crow, the robot with the beak, I always thought the way it always looked like Crow was facing the camera instead of facing the movie screen, which really creeped me out.
Tom Servo the best.
Ooh, nice.
Full House.
Ugh, keep it. My brother still to this day will watch that show anytime it comes
The other
on.
night, I do this weird thing where I will look up something on. This has become my new thing to do when I'm bored. So I'll look up something that's in the news, and then I'll Wikipedia it. And then I find one of the hot links off Wikipedia, and it's just like a little bunny trail. And somehow I got to Full House the other night on Wikipedia, and just the things that people listed and had sources for, like the changes and stuff that were made. Like I think there's a devout Full House following.
Oh, it's definitely got. It's
You
called
got
following.
it, dude.
What about Tales from the Crypt? Did you ever watch that on HBO?
Yeah.
Whew, that was good. Speaking of that, what about Up All Night on USA?
Oh yeah.
That is when, and I can't remember when this movie was made, but it is one of my favorite movies, The Warriors. It was always on late, like real late, like after 12 o'clock. But anytime The Warriors was on TV, on TBS, I was watching that show.
Yeah, Up All Night, they used to do good movies like that. And then it kind of got to where they were doing kind of more like the Skinamax kind of movies.
Yeah.
And they had Rhonda Shear, and then Gilbert Gottfried did it for a while. What about My Two Dads? Did you ever watch that?
I never did get to that. But what about just the 10 of us?
Just the 10 of us? That was, with the guy with the 10 daughters.
We left off the A-Team.
Which was a spin-off from Growing Pains.
Growing Pains was great. Growing Pains and Full Ties.
As long as Family
Ties.
As long as we got each other. We got the world right in our hands.
I mean, Mike Seaver, really? You had me at hello, Mike.
We were talking about this the other day. I think it was.
Yeah, we were.
When we were talking about the episode when he stays up all night writing the answers on his shoes, and he gets a good grade on the test, and he kicks back and puts his shoes up on the desk, and they try to accuse him of cheating, and he's like, "No, I really knew this stuff."
I didn't know this. I had forgotten this. Seinfeld came out. in the 80s. It
It
started in
did.
the
It
80s.
started Seinfeld crawling.
And then it really got big. With that being said, do you remember the Family Ties episode where it's like literally he's just standing there and it's all black and then
yeah, that was the one that Tom Hanks played the uncle and he died.
okay.
He was, I think he was drunk driving.
Yeah, that was a great episode. God, it's just going down memory lane at this point. It's just been absolutely. Remember Fat Albert? Hey! It's Fat Albert.
Who's the boss? You know, we talked about that the other day. Alyssa Milano, one of my first big crushes.
Yeah, I
growing up.
see. She was beautiful, but Darlene. But my favorite, and still to this day, and she's gorgeous to this day, is Punky Brewster, Sally Moon Fry.
Salil Moon Fry.
She's prettier now than she used to be. But man, I wanted to tie different colored bandanas on my legs, on my jeans, and wear a jean jacket because of her. And then to find out that her parents just left her in a grocery store, that hurt.
Yeah.
That hurt. I didn't understand at that time. I was so young. I did not understand at that time like why somebody would just leave their kid in a grocery store. But thank goodness for what was the caretaker's name? What was? Oh my gosh, that's
The old man. I know who you're talking about.
I just can't remember his
And
name.
she had the dog. Give me a second.
What about Quantum Leap? Did you ever watch Quantum Leap
Oh boy.
and Sam, the computer?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Ziggy. Wasn't Ziggy the computer?
was that its name?
Yeah. And then Sam was the guy.
Scott Bakula.
Henry, that's the guy.
Yeah, Henry. Remember when one of them got stuck in the refrigerator on Punky Brewster, and then you had to. Man, it was always what happened to shows like that? Do shows do that nowadays?
I don't think so. Little House on the Prairie. I didn't watch
I can
that.
remember like if that came on, I was like, I'm done. There's no way I can watch this.
Now here's the Wonder Years.
Oh wow,
Great show.
What a great intro song.
Yep.
And they did the
And that's one of the reasons they can't put it out on DVD is because of all the music. They don't have the license to it.
oh, that's unfortunate. That's so unfortunate. Joe Crocker's help.
Goodbye with a little help
Yeah.
to my friends.
Oh my gosh, what a great show. What about the Nickelodeon shows?
Can't do that on television.
Alanis Morissette started out on that. But that show, Barf, remember the cook?
Yeah,
Barf?
Barf.
He was great.
Double Dare.
Double Dare was
Yeah,
great. Thank you,
Double Dare.
Dwayne. Do you know Mark Summers was actually, he was
OCD.
OCD and he could not stand messes and like he was so freaked out about that show. Cracks me up. We talked about it earlier. You were talking about during break. Doogie Howser, MD.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what it was. I think it was where he typed at the end.
Yeah.
And I thought it was just so cool that he had a computer. and
The
he had,
Saturday
like, a
Night
diary.
Live last year when Neil Patrick Harris hosted and they did the digital short with like the orchestra playing the Doogie Howser theme. Like I sit there and was like, oh, it brings back my youth.
Did you ever watch the Mickey Mouse Club?
Oh, the Timberlake version?
Yeah, I never watched
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I never did get into that. But I did just see it. Shirt Tails.
Shirt
Did you ever watch the
Tails.
Shirt
Yeah, I
Tails?
saw
And
some
they had
Shirt
that
Tails.
jet thing. Oh my gosh! Well, I'm pretty sure I had a game with like a little ball, and you shot the ball up into the Shirt Tails for points and stuff. It was like a little handheld like pinball game, but I love that.
Oh, Married with Children.
Al Bundy.
Al Bundy.
Al Bundy. Hey Peg. Hey Peg.
Oh,
Oh my god! And Christina Applegate.
uh-huh.
I mean, as a teenage adolescent or an adolescent boy, and Christina Applegate, and the outfit she got away with on that show.
I mean, today people would consider that stuff risque that she was wearing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was absolutely. Whew, gosh. Three's Company. Come and knock on our
I've been
door.
waiting for you. Well, we were singing the theme song earlier, but Facts of Life.
Yes.
It's one of those shows I never really enjoyed it, but I would watch it. And when I was in college, we had a class where it's pop culture, and we did a performance. And I remember a girl said, "I'm going to go out and sing the theme song, "The Facts of Life." And she, it's like it gets to the part, and we're just like, "The facts of life are all about you," and then it's like, "Ooh, ooh, ooh." Like everybody in that place did the ooh part. At
She
the
just
end
had
of
them
it.
going.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
it just amazed me that there were probably 300 people there, and they all were singing along, doing the oohs and everything.
Do you remember Night Court? Apparently you do.
Yeah.
You remember how tall Bull was, right?
He's like 7'1".
Okay, well, do you remember the episode where they had it was the It was the big tall black guy was on there, and he was the Predator and the guy that played Harry and the
Yeah,
Hendersons,
yeah.
the Harry from Harry and the Hendersons. And I just remember Bull looking up and saying, "How's the weather up there?" But that was another one with Judge Stone. He had some sexual innuendos all the time.
Yeah.
Or no, the
John Larry Kent.
yes, he was always perverted. So
Dan Fielding.
God, what man. Well, Grant, I hate to do this. I mean, we are running out of time. But let's go. You got any more? I just saw WKRP in Cincinnati.
That was a good one.
Great show.
I'll talk about growing up in the 80s watching wrestling.
Oh yeah, Glow, the
Glow?
gorgeous ladies of
Yeah.
wrestling on Saturday nights.
I remember they used to have the Saturday night's main event. Like, it would be before all the pay-per-views, and you'd see like Hulk Hogan and those guys. And back in TBS, back when NWA Wrestling 605, you see Ric Flair talking about the Four Horsemen and all that stuff. I ate that up when I was a kid.
I got into wrestling only for WrestleMania, is the ones we'd watch, and it was always the day before school started for us. We'd go watch that at the Knights of Columbus Hall, and we'd go and watch that, and then have to get up for school the next day. Real quick, we talked about some theme songs, and we've been singing some theme songs, but an absolute amazing theme song, and the show never lasted, was Greatest American Hero.
Oh, yeah.
And most people don't even remember that show because it barely ran, but
It's streaming on Netflix. Check it out. It's funny.
but the theme song is amazing.
Yes.
So, but
Chips.
Chips was good.
Chips was good.
I love those little things on the internet. You know how you know you're gay, and it's
Yeah.
Eric Estrada on his bike and his outfit. But well, Grant, like I said, man, it's been a trip literally down
Yeah.
memory lane.
Yep.
Had an absolute blast, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one as much as we did. Please give us some feedback, some comments on any of your favorite '80s, '90s stuff.
Yeah, let us know anything that we missed. I mean, I'm just sitting here thinking of like Caddyshack, Ghostbusters, Fletch.
And it's too late to go back,
Yeah.
but we could, on special shows, if you guys kind of like this kind of stuff, give us some feedback, let us know, and we can always pull these back out and almost like an archive, but then go back and do some more and talk about different movies and stuff like that. But like I said, Grant, thanks for being in studio. I had a blast. It's good to be back in here. This has been episode 19. Don't forget, neverpresspause.com. Follow us at neverpresspause on Twitter, neverpresspause at yahoo.com. Don't forget that. Grant's been doing a great job on blogging, so keep up with that, and I hope you're enjoying the shows. This has been episode 19, and remember, fans, never press pause.